Time to wrap up your work week, at least for some of you anyway. It's the Slate. Thank you for being with us every single day, Monday through Friday. With Steve Buchanan, I'm Adam Kaufman, and Bukes, of course, near and dear to your heart, mine as well. We got a lot of baseball to get to here over the course of the next, 45 minutes or so that we're hanging out with the people, maybe mixing a little football. If anyone has any questions, by all means, whether it's about tonight's baseball slate, football over the weekend, get them in. Our producer, Raymond, will find them. He will track them down, YouTube, Twitch, Twitter, wherever. Report them to us, and then from there, who knows what Bukes will say. How are you, man?
Doing okay. A little upset that the White Sox are refusing to win this game, but we'll see how it turns out.
We'll monitor it, obviously. That game with the Astros, it is 4-4 right now, game 2. A couple afternoon games in that series, which is kind of nice, I think, if you're a fan of those teams, as opposed to being forced to stay up late or wrecking your evening or whatever it may be. Last night, rough for us Red Sox fans, but, we'll get to that. Game 2 of that series coming up a little bit later on tonight as well, a couple hours from now. But White Sox Astros, let's start there. This game 4-4, 7th inning. Top of the 8th is on the horizon anyway, depending on whether the Astros are able to get a run across here in the bottom of the inning. Obviously, Houston took game 1. Bukes, anything about this series surprising you to this point?
No, I mean, look, the Astros are favored in this series here. The White Sox came in as the underdog. I like them to come out of this series. Obviously, if they lose today, then that's really going to be tough. But the Astros have just been hitting the White Sox well. I mean, they came into this postseason, in my mind, as the most balanced roster amongst all the American League teams that are left, and that has not happened so far with the pitching. Didn't like the matchup for Lance Lynn last night. He got smoked last night. That was expected. Did not think that we would see a bad start from Lucas Giolito, who gave up 4 runs, 3 hits, 5 walks. It's pretty uncharacteristic of him. And he was out of this one early, and they had to dip into that bullpen early. And, that's the issue right now. Aaron Bummer's got 2 guys on, 1 out, going up against Yordan Alvarez, which is not somebody you want to have men on base against. But, the money was coming in late on the White Sox for this one. You could have got them at even money on the money line. But right now it's not looking too hot for the road team.
In-game betting appeal to you at all when it comes to a game like this? It's already in the bottom of the 7th.
Yeah, it's a little late for me now here. Like, that's like a situation where it's like, let's say, you like the Red Sox tonight. Chris Sale gives up 3 quick runs or something. And maybe you want to jump on a Red Sox, who are underdogs for tonight, should be stated. But if you want to jump on a more appealing line here, but this late in the game, it's kind of it's not all that appealing here.
If anybody is interested, the run line probably shouldn't shock people. It's things are bouncing constantly, not the run line. That's 1.5 at the moment, and that's your baseball constant, obviously, and we'll give you some numbers to look at as well. But the money line has remained still. Astros at -290, +215 for the White Sox in this moment. But some of the other prop bets and other lines and things along those lines, those are jumping around right now. Understandably, the over-under is actually set at 11.5 as the Astros take a 5-4 lead. So I don't know if it's going to quite get to that point, but obviously a couple innings still left to go, and this one is still very much live as well.
Yeah, that's very unfortunate for my White Sox money line bet. So I'm not too happy right now.
Yeah, we'll, like I said, we'll keep an eye on it, let you know if anything changes over the course of the way. Maybe we can turn Butte's, frown upside down. But so that's one game that's in progress. There's another one that is also going on. Now, this is much earlier. There's no score. It's the Braves and the Brewers, middle of the 2nd right now. So heading to the bottom of the 2nd there in Milwaukee. What about this series? This is game 1. So how are you feeling about it?
Yeah, I don't really give the Braves much of a chance in this series. That Brewers rotation is just absolutely dominant. When you got Corbin Burns, you got Brandon Woodruff, you got Freddie Peralta, even Eric Lauer's been pitching pretty well for them. I mean, look, the Braves have been a very resilient team. That's a big reason why they're here in the playoffs in the NL East. That was really up for grabs all the way up until mid-September, it felt like. But they were able to get in there because there was no chance they were getting in. There was no team getting in from the NL East into the wild card. But that is such a tough rotation that you're going to have to take down, that I like the Brewers in this. I like the Brewers to go all the way to the World Series, if you're asking. It was supposed to be against the White Sox, but who knows if that's going to happen at this point. They're going to be down 2-0 pretty soon. But I think the Brewers, their offense isn't great, okay? But that rotation is so deep. Their bullpen is deep. It could have been even deeper if Devin Williams knew how to control his alcohol. But the Brewers are going to be the team to beat. I think, in my opinion, it's going to be probably Brewers Giants in the championship series, if you're asking me. But I think the Brewers are going to be a really tough team. I'd be shocked if the Braves come out of this division series.
5.5, the over-under in that one, kind of on the lower side. I mean, especially when you look at, the Red Sox game against the Rays a little bit later on. That's 7.5 last I looked at it. I don't know if it's changed. We'll get to that game in a bit. But 5.5, how are you thinking about this one for game one?
Yeah, so I mean, this is a really, really low total, right? Only in the second inning here, but that just goes to show the matchup that we have here with Charlie Morton and Corbin Burns. See, like now, this might be a scenario where I might be interested in taking the over on a live line, because if you got this pregame, the pregame over under was at 7.5, which is low in itself. But now you got 5.5 at even money. Now, runs are going to be at a premium here. Like, there's no doubt that in my mind that this is going to be a very low scoring game. Like, you might get a 2-1 or 3-1, but just based off value alone, you're doubling your money if you can get over 5.5 runs. I mean, if that was the over under before the game started, I'd be like, okay, yeah, I'm interested in the over. So only through one inning and we're already down to 5.5 runs. That might be an instance where I'd be interested in the live betting. And now it's at plus 110. So there you go.
So what is it? I know you reviewed some of this already, but to feel so highly, especially when you've got the Dodgers, the Giants, and that's going to be one heck of a series. And we can, look back on what happened in the wild card game against the Cardinals as well, for the Dodgers to put them in this position. But, most people are fixated, baseball fans, on the NL West. And, surely one of those teams is going to the World Series. So for you to have Milwaukee coming out of the National League, I mean, what is it about the Brewers that has you so high on them?
I mean, just that rotation in that bullpen. If you don't have a lead against Milwaukee by the seventh inning, you're probably not going to get one back. And I mean, that's just been the case for the Brewers all season long. Throughout the season, when the Brewers had a lead going into the seventh inning, opposing teams averaged under 2 runs in those next 2 innings. And that was one of the lowest in the league. I think it was 1.7 runs opposing teams had against the Brewers from innings 7 through 9. Like, that is just unbelievable to think how low that is there. The Yankees were actually also another team that didn't give up many runs, but that was one and done for those guys. Sorry, a bunch of luck over there. But that's a big thing for me there. And I mean, if they can beat Burns one night, okay, then you got to try to beat Woodruff, who has been one of their best pitchers. And if you can beat Woodruff, then you have to try to beat Freddie Peralta. It just doesn't stop with this team. And that's the biggest thing for me. They're gonna shut down a lot of offenses, as they did all season long.
That Cardinals team, obviously, that fell to the Dodgers. Personally, that was who I was rooting for. I wanted to see St. Louis beat LA. I think it was really just more of a new blood kind of thing, more so than it's, I hate Los Angeles or the Dodgers or anything like that. They won the World Series last year. Let's mix it up a little bit. But it's, obviously you still can't help but look at it and say, okay, this team won north of 100 games, during the regular season, as did the Giants. These two teams, they were going back and forth, vying for the NL West crown. We talked about it a lot on this show in weeks past as we were ramping up toward the playoffs and the end of the regular season. And it seems only fitting that these clubs have an opportunity to, clash, to face off in an actual series to determine who the best team in that division actually is. It's pretty amazing. I mean, we're talking about 2 of the best regular season teams ever matching up just in the division series.
Yeah, and the funny thing is that, like, we talked about this all throughout the regular season. Like, the Giants are peaking. It was said that in April. Then we said it in May. Then we said it in June. July came around and we were like, like, maybe this team's actually pretty good. Then they were the first team to clinch the division. A playoff spot. And it was like, okay, this team is just flat out good. And the biggest thing is that they found these diamonds in the roughs in the rotation, like getting guys like Alex Wood to perform like he has, getting someone like Anthony DeSclafani to do what he did, getting someone like Logan Webb, who's really kind of turned a corner since the end of July. And now he's starting tonight's game against the Dodgers. Like, they just got such good pitching from guys that they didn't expect to get it from. And then this offense was clicking as well. Now they're missing one of their better bats with Brandon Belt, who's got the finger injury. So he's obviously missing some time, but this Giants team has done it all season long with so many different guys in so many different positions. It's going to be a hell of a series. I'm really looking forward to this one.
What stands out to you most? Like you said, good pitching matchup here. Walker Buehler, Logan Webb for game one. This game gets started in a little over 4 hours out in San Francisco. So obviously some later games that people have to stay up for in this series. Just in terms of who's going to take the series, number of games it's going to take, any bets that stand out along those lines on the DK Sportsbook for you?
I mean, look, you look at the over-under in this one. Under 7.5 has all the juice here at -120. The over, which I don't think really has much of a chance of hitting, is at even money here. Walker Buehler was somebody who, especially even in the month of September, was being talked about for the Cy Young until Corbin Burns really kind of took that and ran with it. And Logan Webb has been absolutely excellent. We can throw up his numbers here for what we've had on the season for somebody that was more of an afterthought, that somebody that was actually going to be in the bullpen for the majority of the league. He ends with a 3.03 ERA, 158 strikeouts, over 148 in the third innings pitched. He's striking out over an average of over a batter an inning here. And he's been pretty good against the Dodgers. 3 starts made, 16 innings, 5 runs, 4 of them earned, 7 hits, 17 strikeouts. I mean, both of these guys that are taking the mound tonight in this game have done pretty well against the opposing team here. Walker Buehler faced his team 6 times. 11 runs, 27 hits, 33 strikeouts through 37 innings pitched. This is going to be a really low-scoring game. It was really only one game, too, for Buehler that he got lit up by the Giants. The other ones, he was phenomenal in. So, I mean, this is going to be a really good series. I would not want to be sweating the over in this game with 2 really good pitchers taking the mound tonight.
You know, you talk about the good pitchers, and it's just the thing that I keep coming back to, Bukes, and it's a sign of the times, right? It's Major League Baseball in not just 2021, but here we are in 2021. You look at what's happened in the playoffs very early on, wild card games on into the game 1s, game 2 now in the division series, and just all throughout the regular season. But for anyone out there that, the purists, the people like me that would hope that maybe the playoffs will be a little different. No, everything is consistent. This is the way it works. We can sit here and talk all about Buehler and Webb and any number of different guys, regardless of the series. The fact of the matter is,
all right, hold on. Sorry. Gotta stop. I am so sick of Craig Kimbrell. This guy sucks. This guy absolutely sucks. Like, everybody's always like, he's like a Hall of Fame pitcher, a shoe-in Hall of Fame pitcher. Every time this guy takes him out and there's a big game on the line, he just goes and craps his pants. He just did it again. Absolutely did it again. Why is everybody infatuated with this guy? He absolutely sucks. Every time he takes the mound in a big situation, he's got the stupid arm thing. He's got his dumb beard. Like, don't worry about your looks. Go out there and make pitches. He can't make pitches. And they've a big haul for him to get this guy in. All he's doing is ruining their season.
I mean,
I hate Craig Kimbrell. I hope, you know what? Go ahead.
Well, I was going to say he's been bad for the White Sox since they acquired him, no doubt about it. But he was elite for Chicago this year before the trade. His
the wrong Chicago.
Man. I mean,
he was elite for the wrong Chicago.
Fair, but more often than not, he's been a tremendous pitcher in his career. We know that. I mean, I'm not saying that he is an elite postseason performer. Obviously, there are there are reasonable question marks there. I'm pulling up the postseason numbers for him right now.
Yeah, you know what? I pulled up his postseason numbers. You know what it says? It doesn't even give numbers. It says sucks. That's what it says. He's the worst. 9-4 now. This guy is the worst.
9 games in 2018, an ERA of about 6.
Kyle Tucker. All right, I'm going to tweet this now. I don't even care if I'm on the show.
Tweet it.
I'm on a show right now.
But
I want to tweet that Craig, got to spell his name right.
Kimbrell. Kimbrell.
Absolutely sucks.
Blows, sucks. What are we going with? 9 now.
Watch it. Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
4.
Unbelievable.
Nice. This game was 4-4 about a minute and a half ago. Imagine if you'd gone with the 11.5 over. Feel pretty good.
What an idiot.
I assume you give do the White Sox even take a game in this series at this point?
I don't care. This guy sucks. What an idiot.
What they give up to get him?
Too much. Too much.
That's always the way at the trade deadline. When you're a contender thinking you're getting a difference maker.
This happens all the time. Everybody's like, "Oh, there's Craig Kimbrell. He's gonna do so well in the bullpen." Never does. Nope. Kimbrel. Yeah, Hall of Fame. Hall of Fame for sucking. All right, what do you want to talk about?
Well, all I was going to say, what I was ramping up to, now I'm just staring at Craig Kimbrel's career numbers. He's got a 2.18 ERA, 650 games-ish. What's his total saves? Almost 400. Anyway, what I was building up to is I just, again, Bueller, Webb, whoever else. I just don't, are these guys even going to go 5 innings? That's constantly we're watching these games and saying, are these guys going to make it out of the 4th, 5th inning?
That's why he's not going 5 innings. Craig Kimbrel. That guy sucks.
Yeah, but he doesn't have to.
Right. Okay, so Logan Webb, Walker Buehler, these are 2 guys that are going to go deep into the games. I mean, these are guys that are consistently throwing 6 to 7 innings when they're on the mound. Like, look at Logan Webb here. Look at his game log, 7, 7, 6. Look at all these 7s. Look at that. Walker Buehler, same thing. But and the thing about these 2 teams too is they have good bullpens behind them too. Like Kenley Jansen the other night, I don't know if you saw this, but when they were in that game against the Cardinals, Jansen came in. There was a couple of guys on. He literally throwing right down the heart of the plate his fastball. Like, didn't give a crap who you were. He's like, I am going to challenge you. And if you are going to beat me, you're going to beat me right down the pipe with my best stuff. I love guys like that who just, don't give a crap. He's one of those guys that like intentionally box. So the guy goes to the third base because he doesn't want, sign stealing. Like, I love everything about him. But again, both teams really strong bullpens. So like that's why like this game is going to be low scoring, because both of these guys have the capability to go 6 or 7 innings and then they'll give way to the bullpen. I mean, again, I wouldn't be surprised if this is like a 2-1 game, 3-1, 3-2, something like that. That's just what how these rotations are built.
You'll appreciate this from our pal Dan Shaughnessy, longtime baseball columnist, Hall of Famer, at least award winner, recognized by the Hall of Fame, Boston Globe. When will baseball people learn? Craig Kimbrel can only be used in a clean inning with a 3-run lead against the Orioles. All-time phony save compiler.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, he's totally right. God, how annoying. It's one thing to lose a bet, but it's another thing to lose it because, the stupid team wanted to get Craig Kimbrel, who absolutely sucks in every situation that is, high leverage.
I got to be honest, though. The White Sox, I mean, what was their over-under coming into the year? I know it was high. Like, people expected a lot from them. But do you remember what the number was?
For wins, I want to say it was like 93.5.
Yeah, so, I mean, they finished at 93. So they were right there-ish. For me, they overachieved, not because of their talent, but, the success they had in spite of Tony La Russa.
I mean, you don't have to tell me anything about Tony La Russa. He's like one of the worst human beings around, and he's one of the worst managers around. I mean, he's using Craig Kimbrel. I mean, I don't care if your GM went out and got Craig Kimbrel.
He wasn't. La Russa was with the Red Sox organization in 2018 when they won the World Series. Maybe he fell in love with Kimbrel then.
Yeah, and look how that worked out for him. Like, mind your business. Like, you saw enough for him in the Red Sox organization. You don't need to see him here. With that said, for as much of a dope that Tony La Russa is, that team is so stacked with talent that, it's one of those things that it doesn't matter. Like the Chiefs have absolutely no defense, but it doesn't matter if they give up 30 points because they're going to score 50 in the meantime. So sure. You don't need to have, that type of mentality. But the White Sox are going to be in the mix for years. They have so many young guys that are coming up, like Andrew Vaughn, Luis Robert, like Dylan Cease, Lucas Giolito, like even like Yohan Moncada, he's been in the league for years, but like, what's he still like 26 years old? They just have so much young talent. Yeah, they just have so much young talent that they're going to be hanging around for years. But they drew a tough matchup against the Astros. Like, I like them to win this series, but I didn't think it was going to be a 3-1 series or 3-2 series. I mean, hell, I hope it's 5 games now because I'm going to be dead in the water in a lot of futures if they lose the next game. But this was just a tough team to go up against in the Astros, and you're seeing exactly why.
At what point are they going to have to worry about starting to pay guys, though? You talk about all this talent coming up and all these guys they have and young guys. I mean, at what point are they going to either have to, become one of those teams that the way we talk about, the Yankees typically, the Dodgers, the Red Sox, teams like that versus, a team that's going to have to start to sell off parts because they're not willing to go there.
A lot of these core guys are going to be under team control for the next few years, like Robert Vaughn, Dylan Cease. Like, they aren't going to be getting paid for at least for a few years. When that time comes, what's that going to look like? That could be, a lot tougher to swallow them. But, it's kind of like the Marlins mentality. The Marlins have all these guys under team control. Then when it's time to pay them, they ended up shipping them off. Now, I don't think that's what the White Sox and the Rays too. I don't think that's what the White Sox are going to be doing. But in that sense, that's definitely going to be an issue coming up. I mean, the Red Sox kind of dealt with that too themselves. With Xander Bogaerts, Rafi Devers, Mookie Betts when that was going to come. Yeah. So, will the White Sox be in that situation? Absolutely. But they're not a team like the Rays. They're not a small market team. They're one of the bigger market teams. But that's definitely going to be an issue in the next few years.
Well, if you got your bingo card or whatever, we've probably mentioned the Red Sox and Rays about 25 times since the start of the show. Why not actually talk about the series? Game 2 tonight, that one beginning in about an hour and a half at this point. Chris Sale will be on the mound for Boston with Shane Baz talking about a young up-and-comer for the Tampa side of things. Baz, who is he's only been up for like 2.5 weeks. He's pitched very, very well, though, and he's getting the ball, obviously, for Game 2 tonight. Sale has faced Tampa a couple of times this year, largely has had kind of a soft ramp up, you might say, coming out of Tommy John surgery where he missed 2 years and now pitching a very important game here for the Red Sox in the postseason. Game 1, certainly all Rays, 5-0 final last night. Randy Arozarena, the rookie, who doesn't feel like a rookie because of what he did in the postseason last year, picked up right where he left off. Straight steal of home. He hit a home run. It was all Rays. Last night's game was all Rays. Will the Red Sox even it up tonight, or is it going to be 2-0 Tampa?
Yeah, I think it's going to be 2-0 Tampa in this one here. The biggest problem for them came with last night, and this is what's really going to set up for a recipe for disaster tonight. Eduardo Rodriguez was out by the second inning. He was doing his best impression of Garrett Cole, okay? So that means that the Red Sox had to go into that bullpen way earlier than they needed to, way earlier than they wanted to. So now the pressure is on Chris Sale to go deep into this game and preserve the bullpen for at least Game 3. Chris Sale has made 9 starts since he came back into the major leagues after coming off Tommy John surgery. He has not gone more than 5 1/3 inning once. And in that game where he went over 5 1/3 inning, he went 6 innings. Okay. Chris Sale is not going deep into games because he's not pitching efficiently. He's still getting the strikeouts. He's still getting the swings and misses, but he already gave up 6 home runs in those 9 starts. That's not something you usually see from Chris Sale. Right-handed bats specifically aren't just hitting him, they're hitting him hard. He has a 4.94 FIP against right-handed bats. That is almost absurd and unbelievable to see against Chris Sale. Does he still have the stuff? Absolutely. Is he still going to be able to get the swings and misses? By far. Is he going to go deep into this game and give us a playoff performance? I don't think so at all. This Rays offense is pesky. Absolutely pesky. And they have some damn good hitters against lefties like a Arozarena, who's going to just create hell on the base pass and at the plate. There's just too many ways that this Rays offense can beat you. I don't think you can say the same about the Red Sox. This was the worst draw that they could get. I wanted them to beat the Yankees to get into this situation, but when they won that wild card game, to me, playoffs were over for the Red Sox after that. They're not beating the Rays.
So first the White Sox and Astros with a bad draw, and then the Red Sox and Rays with a bad draw. I'll tell you what, maybe it's personal bias, and I'm perfectly willing to admit that, Red Sox fan. But I don't know, man. Something is telling, and I thought they were going to lose last night. I tweeted about it. I don't trust Eduardo Rodriguez, and unfortunately, he's not a guy that you can depend on versus what you saw at the start of the year. He's wildly inconsistent all year long. All of that being said, I do think, and maybe I'm just saying it because we have a record, we have it on tape. I think the Red Sox are going to take the next 2 games. I'm not even saying they're going to win the series, but I think they're going to take the next 2 games. I think Chris Sale's going to give him 6 tonight. I think going back for Game 3 at Fenway with Eovaldi on the mound, I think they are going to surprise people. And I don't even think it's, like I said, maybe it's coming from a biased place. Maybe it's putting too much stock in what Sale can or should be and what Eovaldi has been largely over the course of the year, and obviously what he was against the Yankees. But, I'll readily admit, like, the Rays are the better team. They're better in every facet. I mean, starters, rotation, or the relievers, the bullpen, offense, defense, like base running. I mean, you name it. The Rays are a superior team, other than like maybe Alex Cora gets an edge in terms of just managers, Cora versus Cash. But I don't know. Something is telling me the Sox are going to take this one, take the next one too.
You just can't ever take your homer hat off. That's what it is.
I try. Well, I did. I told you I thought they were going to lose last night.
Like Jared Carrabis always says that he's an unbiased, baseball reporter.
Right, but that's not true.
Neither it is for you.
I didn't say it was coming from a place of lack of bias. I just said that. I led with that.
When you're in these situations, what have you seen from Chris Sale that makes you think he's going to beat this team tonight? Truly. What have you seen that you're like, I have confidence in Chris Sale? I don't care about what he's done in the past. Okay. I get it.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. No, like Chris Sale.
This year,
Chris
he
Sale,
done?
7-time All-Star is not the guy that we're talking about. I recognize.
No. What makes you think that he's going to beat the Rays tonight? Truly.
Pull up the
Nothing.
game. I mean, he pitched well against the Rays the first time he saw them, 2 runs over 6. Second time they saw him, he only lasted 3 2/3, but of the 5 runs he allowed, 1 was earned, multiple errors in the field behind him. It's not like he's pitched poorly against Tampa this year, I guess is my point. It's not, but you could make the case, like, obviously if he'd gotten shelled with regularity, but that's not what happened.
But this is the biggest difference here. In that game where he pitched well against the Rays, okay? Mm-hmm. He went 6 innings, struck out 3. 3 in through 6 innings. His ERA in that game was an even 3. Mm-hmm. His FIP and FIP is what you really need to judge a pitcher on, not ERA. ERA is like batting average. Like no one gives a crap except old men who read the box scores in the newspaper still. FIP is how you want to judge a pitcher.
I feel so seen.
In that game where his ERA was 3, his FIP was 6.34. That is the highest one that he's had all season long. So that means that the defense of the Red Sox saved him in that game. His FIP was 3 runs higher in that game than his ERA actually was. That is where the concern comes from. So when he went deep, he only struck out 3, and his FIP was 3 runs higher. That's the Chris Sale you're going to get tonight. That's what I really believe.
But I guess what I'm saying is this, Bukes. But like I don't FIP, strikeouts, whatever. Like if he goes 6 innings tonight and allows 2 runs, okay, let's just look at those 2 categories. If he goes 6 innings tonight and allows 2 runs, I'm content with that start. I'm good with that start. To me, that's a perfectly fine start. It's a quality start, if you will.
So, and that's true. He has only gone through a lineup more than twice, once.
Deliberately, though. Not because he couldn't necessarily, but because of a really slow ramp up because baseball is where it's at.
And that's a fine assessment there. But at the same time, if you're asking him to go and ramp up really in the playoffs, because we haven't seen them go at least 7.
Sure.
Right? Like 7 is not the magic number. All right.
Yep.
But ideally, when you need a bullpen to be rested, and because you used so many guys last night, when you need your bullpen to rest, you need to go at least 7. We have not seen that once. Does that mean he can't do it? No. Does it mean does he have the capabilities? Of course. But from what we've seen so far this season, that is just not the case. And I think that's where the biggest problem is going to be, because he is stubborn. And he's going to do everything he can to stay on the mound. And that, in a situation like this, can also be his detriment. And that's how the team gets in trouble, because Alex Cora is going to let his ace do what he needs to do. He needs that bullpen rested, and that could lead to mistakes and then runs, and then you're in a hole that you can't dig yourself out of.
Keep in mind, the only guys that you're not going to see tonight are obviously Eduardo Rodriguez, who started last night, and Garrett Richards went 4+. Other than that, or not Richards, Pivetta, pardon me. So, Richards went 1/3 of an inning, Taylor 1/3, 1 for Ottavino. So they didn't hurt their bullpen last night. I don't want to go on and on and on about the Red Sox, but the, because there is another element to this game that's important that I want to mention in a second. But simply saying, if you get even 5 out of Sale, ideally 6, perfect world 7, but that's not going to happen, then you're in perfectly fine shape.
No, for sure. And the guys that you mentioned too, are guys that they would use in that long relief role anyways. But you're already burning that in game 1. That's where I really kind of get hung up here, because once you get to game 4, ideally you want this to be an even series. If it's not, then you're going to guys that you don't want to be using in that situation.
Mhm.
That was the best thing that could have happened for the Rays in game one. They got the start out early. They start burning guys early, and then it puts the pressure on them for game two, because now you need Sale to go deep. Because if you because who's the long relief guy tonight? Is it Garrett Richards? I don't feel good about that. So you might as well paying a 2 on the series
it might
for
be
the Rays.
Martin Perez.
Oh, even better. Is he even on the roster? I don't even know. I don't even know if he's on the roster.
Yeah, I'd have to double check if he's on the roster.
Yeah. He's lucky if he's on the roster, So, but truly,
he's not on the roster. Matt Barnes is not on the roster.
Yeah, there you go. So, all right.
So one other element of this game, I'm just curious about Perez, so I'm looking that up. But one other element of this game that I do want to mention, because it's relevant for people thinking daily fantasy and just this Red Sox offense in general, is obviously, Rafael Devers is banged up, regardless of what Alex Cora said. He is hurt. He's dealing with reportedly a right forearm strain or injury or whatever it may be. JD Martinez, according to Marley Rivera at ESPN, who just tweeted this out moments ago, JD Martinez just told me I'll be good to go, but made no guarantees, which I guess doesn't really mean anything. But we are, we're going to find out in a matter of time whether or not he's in this lineup. The Rays lineup's been out for what feels like an eternity. The Red Sox lineup is not out because they're waiting on Martinez, who's in the cage, to see how he's feeling after he literally tripped over second base in the last game of the regular season. So they're waiting to see. But I mean, clearly, the Red Sox are going nowhere if the offense, as inept as it looked last night. Breaking news, you need to score runs to win baseball games. And if Devers is going to look like that, and Martinez is going to be unavailable or be a shell of himself, and Bogarts is going to be in the slump that he was in for most of the second half of the year. I know he was good in the wild card game, but if he's not good, as he largely hasn't been in months, then that's going to be problematic. I guess I would just wonder, from a DFS perspective, is there, what in this game, if you're playing maybe you're playing a 2-game classic, but if you're playing a showdown for the Red Sox Rays game, who are you targeting?
You're targeting the Rays. You're targeting the Rays because
stack the Rays.
If my sentiment is that I think that Chris Sale is not going to pitch well in this one, then I'm stacking the Rays.
On the roster, by the way, I just looked.
Oh, I mean that doesn't help. But I'm under the impression that the Rays are going to hit Sale, so I'm stacking the Rays here in this spot. And quite frankly, you look at that lineup too. There's just so many guys that hits lefties well. It's like you start with a Rosarena, you go with Wander Franco, who is he's going to get on base because that's all he does. Brandon Lau's got good numbers against lefties. Cruz, their big midseason acquisition, all he does is hit lefties. Even Diaz doesn't have a ton of power, but can hit lefties. Luplow is there on the roster specifically against lefties. Like, there's just so many guys here in this lineup that it's just going to be a tough one for Chris Sale. Like, I look at this and I go, that is going to be tough to get through, forget the first time, but the second and third, which they're going to probably need you to do. Nope. You go with the Rays in this one. And then, I don't know what the Red Sox one is going to look like here, but I think that, you just got to stack the Rays in this one. And if you're looking for like a captain or whatnot, Cruz makes a good captain. Wander Franco makes a good captain. Those guys have excellent, and Rosarena all have excellent numbers, power wise, and just on base against lefties.
Your general approach to daily fantasy in general, when it comes to obviously showdowns in particular, I mean, are you? Pardon me.
Yeah, to just tell the kids that Craig Kimbrell is awful. I mean, they were coming in to check on that. I'm sure that's what they wanted to know. So you can just tell the kids that, Craig Kimbrell is an awful pitcher. Teach them early. That's all you got to do.
They're just going to be there watching the Hall of Fame induction speech. It's going to be quite a thing.
Yep.
In 6 years in Cooperstown, when he's, as people have been tweeting, going in as a Cub. But I was going to ask you before I was so rudely interrupted, Bukes, is when you're looking at the showdowns for any of these games, obviously 2 are already underway, but the other 2 looking ahead to tonight, are you interested in even rostering a pitcher, or is it just bats for you, given, how short some of these outings have been?
Yeah, it's tough too. Cause because the pitchers are usually so expensive, like head and shoulders above everybody else. That wasn't a cheap plug either. But those guys have been going, and we've seen so many pitchers get blown up already. Lance Lynn yesterday, Giolito had a really bad start here today. Valdez for the Astros didn't particularly have a great start here either. I'm sticking with the bats mostly in this one. You have to really kind of cherry pick here. In that Dodgers-Giants game, if you're making a showdown for that one, I would actually be interested in taking both pitchers if I can, because I think both of them are going to be in a good spot here, but not in that Rays Red Sox game. I'd probably stay away from both of them and just kind of load up on the bats on that one.
So let's go back to the Giants-Dodgers series. I want to circle back to that one, obviously, because it's, for the, I know, personal interest in Red Sox Rays, and it is a big game. It's game 2 of the ALDS, and we already have a feel for this series, so we can spend a little more time just sort of dissecting that as we have. But I'm not sure we gave the proper due to, again, a series that features two of the best regular season teams of all time. And, especially with the huge sampling of regular season meetings that those two clubs had, duking it out, trying to win the West, now going on here in the playoffs. And, we talked a little bit about some of the betting angles, DK Sportsbook, and by all means, if there are any props or anything like that you want to get into that stand out to you, absolutely. But also I think we should talk about the DFS side of things in that series and what jumps out for you.
Yeah, I think this one's going to go the distance, and you can bet the series line on this one. Let me see if I can pull that up. Playoff series prop. Yeah, so I like the Giants to come away with this one in 5 games. The Giants are plus 145 to win the series here. This series hasn't started, so amongst the teams that were in the series, they're one of the bigger underdogs on this one. The White Sox are plus 110. I think the Braves closed at 135, so this is probably the biggest number you have. Obviously, the Red Sox here are plus 275 is a big dog because they're already down 1-0. The White Sox are going to be a big dog too in about 10 minutes whenever that game. What's the update on that game? What is it?
9-4, top 9.
Get out of here, stupid Craig Kimbrell. I'm gonna send him a Venmo request for my bet earlier. But yeah, so the Giants at plus 145. Yeah, he should be able to cover it. I think that's something to consider. I think the Giants just have a really good team. It's going to be a really fun series in this one too, but I think it's going to be a lot of low scoring in this one. Both teams just have really good pitching. And when you're making those showdown lineups, some series I'm avoiding the pitching, kind of like the Boston and the Rays series. The Giants and Dodgers one, I think, is one that you're going to have to really seriously be taking a look at both pitchers on both sides, because it's going to be, Wood and DeSclafani going for the Giants the next couple of games. Scherzer's going to get in there at some point. Julio Urias, who won 20 games. You probably didn't even realize that for the Dodgers. Still a lot of good pitching on both these sides here.
You want to mix in a little football before we get out of here in the next, 5 to 10, whatever it is? Let's do that. Obviously, there's been whole bunch of news coming out over the course of the day. Obviously, it's Friday, injury reports and all of that reports. You got, I'm not going in any particular order, but like Jimmy Garoppolo is expected to be out, with Trey Lance making his first career start, the rookie. So we'll get a look at him, obviously, for the Niners, where now George Kittle is doubtful for this game. Christian McCaffrey, the hope was that he was going to play. He was pretty vocal about it. Doesn't look like that's going to happen for Carolina. He's been listed as doubtful. You've got Julio Jones is not going to play. AJ Brown is returning there on the Titan side of thing. And that's just, scratching the surface. There are a whole bunch of things that have come out over the course of the day, and I can pull up an updated injury list across the league as well. But what's jumping out to you most right now?
You know what my favorite bet is for the week? Right here.
Please.
Bengals +3 against the Packers. Home dogs has been a very successful spot so far in the NFL season. I think the Bengals are gonna really surprise the Packers in this one. The Packers are going to be down at least one quarter. So I know Kevin King was limited in practice. He did get a full practice in for this one, so he's likely back. But they're also going to be down Drew Alexander, who's one of their better corners as well. Meanwhile, the Bengals are getting T. Higgins back. It looks like he logged a full practice in this one. So they're going to have Higgins, they're going to have Chase, and they're going to have Boyd going in this one. Joe Mixon likely out of that game, which actually I like more, because that means the Bengals are going to be throwing the ball more in this one. So I absolutely love the Bengals as home dogs. I think people aren't giving this team enough love, and their run defense is really strong. So that really is going to limit Aaron Jones and AJ Dillon in this one. MVS is still on the IR. There's a lot more boxes the Bengals are checking for me than the Packers are. So if I can get them at 3 points at home against the Packers, that's my favorite bet this week. So I love taking them at +3. And I'm a teaser guy. I love doing teasers.
You do.
So you get them at +3.
Yep.
And then you throw the Bills in there. You make that into a teaser. Now you're getting the Bengals at +9, and you're getting the Bills at 8.5. That's some damn good numbers there. Getting through the important numbers, making it over one possession for both sides. I think the Bills are another team that's just going to outright win this week. So now if I'm getting that +8.5 on the spread, there's nothing not to like there. So 6-point teaser, one of the best ways I think to bet football. Get -120 on that line, make some cash.
Some of the key injuries this week, and a lot of this stuff has been out there as well. Calvin Ridley, Russell Gage, David Montgomery, Garoppolo, as mentioned, Julio Jones, Rob Gronkowski. Darius Slayton. All those guys are out. Doubtful. Kittle and McCaffrey, as mentioned. Some questionable guys. Antonio Gibson, Curtis Samuel, TJ Hawkinson is on that list. Let's see. Cortland Sutton as well. Danny Amendola, Devontae Parker. Some other guys that will know more coming up probably tomorrow. Joe Mixon, Teddy Bridgewater, Dalvin Cook is a possible game time decision. So is Chase Edmonds. Guys who are expected to play. I mentioned A.J. Brown, Amari Cooper, Ezekiel Elliott, Chase Claypool, all there as well. So that's, some of the bigger names. I didn't read you everybody, but some of the bigger names in the NFL this weekend. But based on some of the guys that either are expected to be out or are definitely out, as you filter down the whole trickle down of DFS, and obviously with pricing already having come out earlier in the week, who jumps out as you as some of the guys that are going to be really popular as people chase the million this week?
Well, there's one thing here too, and I just want to mention this game because it's off the main slate, but it is available.
London
showdown.
Game.
Yeah, the London game. No Calvin Ridley, no Russell Gage. People have been waiting for Kyle Pitts to emerge. Here's your game right here for Kyle Pitts. He should be getting all the targets in this one, but of course, this one's not on the main slate. This is going to be just a showdown because it's in that 9:30 a.m. window because they're playing over in London. So just for that purpose, I don't think I'm saying anything groundbreaking here, but that's something to watch there in this one. Of those injuries, I think A.J. Brown is going to see a huge bump without Julio Jones, and just how bad that Titans offense looked last week against the Jets without any of those guys. If it really wasn't for Derrick Henry, that game could have gotten extremely ugly, even though they were playing the Jets in that one. Two really sloppy defenses going against the Titans and Jaguars. That should have a ton of points in that game, like the over 49. But A.J. Brown, somebody on the main slate there, is going to be extremely popular, but he's just going to be getting absolutely peppered with targets in this one against the Jaguars.
We do have an update, by the way, going back to baseball. JD Martinez is in. He's batting 6th tonight. Alex Verdugo will bat 5th. My guy, Robbie Noble, in the chat says Sale goes maybe 3 1/3. Robbie, I thought we were friends. I thought we were friends.
He's not wrong. He's not wrong. There's nothing wrong with being friends and then also being truthful. Robbie Noble is absolutely right. I totally agree.
I mean, don't you want your friends to be honest with you, don't you?
Yeah, that's why, we're on the show together, because I'll tell you to take your Homer hat off and actually give a take. It doesn't include Boston winning.
Again,
it's what it is.
Picked him to lose last night. Thought it would be closer than 5-0, though. You may have noticed Matt LaMarca is typically with us on Fridays. He is not. He is indisposed for the weekend. No, he has a wedding. He's on vacation. So it's not his wedding, by the way. We'd make a much bigger deal out of that if that were the case. And we'd probably be doing this, like live from the hotel, just so we could be part of it, right there together. But we are going to get out of here in a matter of moments. We want to thank our producer, Eamon, as well as Drew, our technical director, who, unfortunately for him, went to game 1 last night. He went and sat through that in Tampa, St. Petersburg, technically. And it was a tough showcase, but cheap tickets, because plenty were available for Rays fans who are not giving nearly the attention that their team deserves. Maybe at some point in time that will change. All right, man. Well, I hope you have a better night of baseball than you've had an afternoon of baseball.
Guy's an idiot. He's absolute worst. Ban him from baseball.
I hope Craig Kimbrell's DMs aren't open. Buke's gonna just start
I won't do that, but I will absolutely send some illegal substances to his house and address him to Craig Kimbrell so he can get suspended.
Our guy Cobra K Tate Knopf's popping into the chat, says, hey Coff, you calling the next sim? Sadly no, but it is coming your way in 5 minutes, so I hope everybody enjoys it. Sims tonight at 6, 8, and 10, so enjoy, obviously. And if you missed it earlier, Eamon posted it in the chat. Don't want it to go overlooked. DK's making the move to Madden 22, folks. It begins with the Nooner Sim on Monday, so that should be a lot of fun. All the rosters are set. The depth charts will be posted on the Madden Streams info page. Head over to the DK Playbook now and learn more. So enjoy that. Enjoy Madden 22. Enjoy my guy Mac Jones starting for the Patriots. For Steve Buchanan, I am Adam Kaufman. Enjoy your weekend. Remember, the sweat comes your way Monday through Friday, Sundays as well for football season, which means you'll probably see Bukes again this weekend. We'll see you, buddy.
You will. See you later.